Hi, in this video we will focus mainly on painting, but before we get to it we're gonna replace the main artillery barrels with metal ones. But first let me show you a short shopping list and then we will proceed to the model. I bought 120mm barrels for British ships, scale 1 to 700 from Aber. Adamet hand drill. It has adjustable handles on both sides and therefore the size of the drills that we can put in it's from 0 to 3.2mm. I also bought a set of drills from Amazing Art in sizes from 0.3 to 1.6mm. There are 20 drills in a convenient box. It's easy to take them out because each one is placed separately. Tamiya masking tape 10mm. Basic putty, also from the same company. I also bought a dark grey wash from Tamiya. Microset and microsole for decals. Aluminium pallet from Ammomic. A set of 5 blades from Excel. It contains 5 different types of blades, as you can see, with different angle. There is also a rounded blade. I also bought a set of files from Amazing Art. 5 files of various shapes. 2 types of rigging from Ammomic, 0.01mm and 0.03mm. I also bought a brush from Renaissance company, size 14. A small saw that looks like a razor blade. I also bought 3 sheets of polystyrene with different thickness, 0.25mm, 0.5mm and 1mm. The last purchase was a modeler's pigment with a standard rust color. A big box, I think it's enough for the rest of my life actually. So let's start with the model. First, modernization of 120mm plots. The set of barrels comes with instructions. As you can see, there is a huge difference between plastic and metal barrels, so replacing it would definitely improve the quality of the whole gun. At the beginning I took care of cutting out plastic barrels. I use a small saw for this purpose. After cutting the barrels, I began to drill holes. I used the drill according to the barrel's instruction. Then I glued the barrels with cyanoacrylate glue, and using extra thin glue I glued the whole gun. I started painting the model with primer paint. I used Vallejo grey undercoat here. It's in a spray can, so it's good to warm it up earlier. I put my spray can for several minutes in very warm but not hot water. We will get more pressure, so the coverage will be better. As you can see, I also dismounted the chimney, which I decided to paint separately. After about 2 hours of drying, I put a second coat. Decided to paint Ślązak with painting version from 1943. I prepared the model for painting the first layer. As you can see, I tape it along the hull. My intention was to paint the first layer in this way and then remove the tape and paint the next layers. This way I wanted to get an effect of visible plating on the hull. I put small parts on toothpicks, fixing them with Patafix. Sticking to the rules to paint from the lighter to darker colors, I decided to paint the entire model with Hataka light grey paint first. I diluted it in 1:1 ratio with Hataka thinner. After that I got a very thin paint, but that was the plan. I painted the whole ship and the boats, chimney and cannons. After applying the first layer, I started to remove the tape. As you can see, I got clear stripes on the hull. I started painting the next layer. Painting in this way is much more effective. The first layer of paint doesn't cover the model so well, but after the second and third it looks much better. I recommend this painting method because you have more control over the final effect. It takes of course much more time than painting immediately with undiluted paint, but the effect is definitely worth it. Between each layer I did about 2 hours break, allowing the previous one to dry properly. After applying the third layer I got a full coverage. I was happy with the result. Then, using a thin brush from Renaissance, I started painting the deck. I painted with dark grey paint from Hataka, also tinned. At this point I realized how big mistake I made by assembling some elements of the superstructure before. Painting the deck in this way wasn't easy. This stage definitely took the most time because I didn't avoid a few errors and corrections. This is the effect after the first layer. As you can see, the paint is transparent here in many places. After the second layer it looked a bit better. Painting on such a small scale with such diluted paint should be done very carefully. You can see that I have not avoided spilling paint on the hull. After the third layer the effect was quite satisfactory. Next step was to make the pattern on the hull. I used tape for this purpose. I tried to press it hard and imitate the pattern on the Ślązak's hull as best as possible. I started painting with dark blue-grey paint, also from Hataka, diluted of course. I applied the first layer. The new LED light lamp works great. I hope you can see the result. I can also work better with it. A link to the video from the assembly of this lamp can be found at the end of this movie. I still need to work on the camera settings, because especially when I zoom in, the image is not as sharp as I would like it to be. After applying the second layer, the effect was like this. After the third layer, I got full coverage. Although I tried to press the tape very well and paint very gently by doing the brush strokes from the tape, as you can see, it didn't bring a good result. Paint has leaked in many places. This is an element that I definitely need to improve in the future. Then I also painted the chimney. Its grill painted with Hataka gunmetal. As you can see, I made corrections on the hull and then started painting the details. I've painted the antennas and the anchor chain with gunmetal paint. As you can see in this zoom, the paint on the deck is not uniform, but I wanted to get the effect of a heavily exploited ship. I already had rich gold acrylic paint from Renaissance, which I used to a different project. I used it to paint wooden elements on boats. Mixing the paints, I got a color of light wood. I painted boats and the decks of inflatable boats. During painting, I lost an anchor on the port side somewhere, therefore I had to do it myself. I was very pleased with what I was able to get by gluing such small PE parts with CA glue. This frame shows also the effects of plating that I was able to get on the hull. Then I started to assemble 120mm guns. I glued 3 cannons on the appropriate platforms, 2 looking towards the stern and 1 on the bow. I decided that they will be present in a marching position, because my final intention was to show Ślązak as a ship during a normal sea crossing. I didn't avoid mistakes, especially when painting and masking some elements. In future I must work on a cleaner design to get a better painting effect. This is the current progress. As the first model, the effect may not be the worst, but I am aware that I still have a lot to improve. In the meantime, I invite you to the next, probably the last episode of Ślązak Construction. I'd like to thank all subscribers and viewers of my channel. To be honest, I didn't realize how much work does it take to make a good video before I started doing my own. Therefore, I'm glad that someone appreciates this work. Thanks also for all thumbs up and comments. It's a big motivation for me to continue working. In the meantime, take care and see you soon.